Well, hello guys, and now it's been a little bit, not a lot of it, a little bit, since I seen you guys last, or since I spoke to you guys last. But today we are going to try to finish, well, let's not say finish, let's say do another level of my oddities and curiosities cabinet. Clean out. We did the bottom with all my clownies. And that's all the way down there. So we have 1, 2, 3 more levels left to go. So what I'm going to do is just make a video per level. Let's just do it that way. If you are new here, please like and subscribe. We love anything weird and wonderful on this channel. What I do is thrift, mainly. I do side things, but I always try to find odd, unusual, curious items. Don't always score, but sometimes I do. So if you're into that kind of thing, then join the family. And I guess we're going. So here we go, guys. Before we get started, guys, a word from our sponsor. Psych. Just joking with you guys. We don't have a sponsor because I suck. Just kidding. No, I don't have enough subscribers to have a sponsor, or nobody wants to sponsor any smaller channels because then they don't get enough views. So poo-poo on them. Our sponsor will be Tums. For all the people who have heartburn and stomach indigestion from all of the high prices that we have to pay at the gas pump and at the grocery store. Y'all with me? Yeah. But no, they're not a sponsor. So anyways. Okay, here we go, guys. Now, the first thing you need to do when you have a mess like this is to take a few pictures. Because if you don't do that, you will go back and you will try to put things the way they were. And it ain't happening. It won't happen. So I always take a few pictures at different angles just to make sure that I can get things back the way they were. Because when it's as crammed as this sucker is, you're not going to get it back the way it was, no matter how hard you try or no matter how much you think you know where you had stuff. It ain't going to happen. So I always take pictures first. This gal needs to get another curio cabinet so that I can spread the stuff out, that you can actually appreciate each individual thing instead of it being crammed in here. But for right now, it's crammed. So I already took my pictures, and we're gonna just start unloading. Okay, so how I'm going to do this, I guess, is just take out each item, explain what it is the best to my ability, I guess you could say, because I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of everything that's in here, but I like it, so that's why it's here. And if you are not into oddities and curiosities and you are subscribed to my channel, then by all means, go ahead and switch off of this. You don't have to watch it, because on this channel, we like a variety of things. We're not pigeonholed into a certain area. So honestly, the quirkier, the better is the way I put it. The weirder, the better. I don't know. Life is too boring to be boring. Or to have boring things, I should say. So, yeah. Anyways, okay. First item, we have a box. And it is French. And basically, it is Bourgeois Candles. For them crazy gals back then that, used to, do the hanky-panky on the side. And I can't open it with one hand. What the heck? Well, y'all believe me. There's candles in there. But anyways, these are Bourgeois candles, or Bourgeois. I don't know how to pronounce it. But these guys are expensive. Generally, you can find them for around $150 to $175 if you find them. Sometimes they're not in this good a shape. But this is a full box, and basically it was 7 minutes. 7 minutes is what each customer got when the candle burnt down to that metal piece right there where the candle would be set in. Then they were done. Customers they didn't care for very much, of course, they would probably trim the bottom of the candle off, is what I was told, so that they wouldn't have 7 minutes, but they didn't know that. So, first item. Okay, I'm going to have to find a place to put all this stuff. This right here, if you've all been subscribed to my channel for quite a long time, you will know that I had a run-in with some white-faced hornets. This is my prize for all of the trauma that they caused me. So, this is from a white-faced hornet's nest. And, let's see. No curio cabinet would be complete without a cow's eyeball. A little cow's eyeball. And you know what? It's one of those old creamers. This used to have creamer in it. Now it has cow eyes. Okay. Then we have this, which is Valentine's meat juice. This was, I think this was from England. But originally what this was made for was for, there was a man, apparently his wife was ill, and he come up with this formula, I guess, to help medicate or make his wife better, and it's called Valentine's meat juice. There's a, you know, a longer story, a better story behind it, but anyways, that's what this is. And my camera keeps wanting to go in and out, but there you go. It's embossed on the outside, the amber bottle, but I thought it was neat, and the story that goes along with it, of course, is awesome. Then we have this. Honestly, it's an eye. It's an eye that has been cut out of a, you know, derelict portrait from a long time ago, and it's like a magnifying piece in this container. So it's just, I don't know. It's an oddity. I don't know what else you would call it, but yeah, it just magnifies the eye. And I have that sitting in there. Then we have a cat skull right here, which I gave him a kind of an eye, I guess you could say. This is an old Oddfellows pen, an old celluloid pen, and it's got the eye on it, so I just kind of sat it in the cat skull to give him an eyeball. I don't know. It just kind of went, I guess. You know, those kind of things. Let's see. Get Mr. Skelly out of there. Then we have some tiny little books. They're all different. This one's Dreams. They're little leather books. I have more. They're kind of spread out. This one's Christ in Flanders. I think that's what that says. And what is this one? A Comedy of Errors. Shakespeare. So anyways, books are great for propping up things to make them at a different height. Then we have this little devil, which 9 times out of 10, if you find one of these little boogers, they're always missing their pitchfork, which I don't mind. I think it's cute. Doesn't matter. I mean, you could always fashion a pitchfork if you wanted to. But there is the maker's mark on the back. I don't know. I think it might be an Esco, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, because I can't see it right now. But you can generally find these little boogers between $30 and $40 on the internet, and they are awesome. They're cute. This is a little cloche with a beetle in it. I honestly don't know what type of beetle this is, but it's a fabulously colored one that's really interesting, so that's why I got it. And I put it in this little teeny tiny cloche. Then, let's see what else we have. We have my Starfish. That is a wet specimen. Very interesting. Now, these jars, these are awesome jars, and they really look nice. And they've got a nice seal on them. And you can get them, especially when they're running a sale at Hobby Lobby. These are awesome for wet specimens, and they make them look nice. Because generally, when you get a wet specimen, it's in a jar. That's just not so flashy. I'm all about the bling and, you know, presentation of things. And the jars that they put them in with just a screw cap or something like that, I'm just not fond of it. So anytime I get a wet specimen, I always transfer them into one of these type of jars. So anyways, there's my starfish. Okay, then we have, this is just a miniature old banner. And honestly, I don't even know what in the heck it says. Canada. It's Canada. I just liked it because it was small. Something else to cram in there. And then we have a sand dollar. Sand dollar. And another starfish. This is a different type of starfish. Hang on, guys. I'm having issues. Okay. Woo! These are celluloid. We have a bride and a groom. These are old little boogers. But they're really cute. See them? We have the bride and the groom. They're just little celluloid figurines. And they're just on little cardboard stands. Oh, and then we have more starfish. In these little, little hands. See, they're teeny tiny little starfish. And then we have a nice bottle of iodine, I think. Yep, tincture of iodine. It says poison. What makes this spectacular is it has poison on the front and it has the skull and crossbones. You can find, you know, bottles, old bottles, generally antique, that will have either bumps or something of that nature on them that signifies that they were poisonous, because, you know, not everybody could read. So if somebody felt the bottle and felt that it had bumps or something on it, then they knew that it was not to be taken. Or that was also put on there, not to be taken, and then you knew it was poison. But to have one that says poison and have the skull and crossbones, this was definitely a keeper for me. So, and the bottle is in fantastic condition. So, and see the dropper in there? Isn't that awesome? Okay, and then we have another hand. Just a bigger one. Just a bigger hand. And this one, I just have standing up. It kind of standing up behind my bride and groom. Then we also have another wet specimen. This is, well, I don't know how well you're going to see him. Where's his face? There's his face. See his chompers in there? This is a bat. It was dead on my front porch. I'm assuming my cat. But anyways, he was a fresh one, a fresh kill, and he was already deceased. So I went ahead and preserved him and tucked him in this little jar. And there you go. It's a bat. It's a bat. Okay. Then we have this, which is fantastical. It's an old picture, an antique picture. And then we have a taxidermied mouse head with a little tiny flower. Isn't that cute? I just love it. Okay, we're running out of space here, guys. I'm going to have to start moving this stuff out. And then we have a little bitty baby puffer. A little bitty baby puffer fish. Love these puffers. And this other thing, I think, was from one of my viewers sent me. I think it's a grasshopper. I think so. Let's see. Come on, focus. Yeah, I think it's a grasshopper. And like an acrylic cube, I guess, is what this is. Acrylic cube. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, we need to do some dusting. There's some funkage. There's some funkage for sure in here. This was just something that I made. I bought one of those articulated wooden artist model hands, and I just added some stuff to it. I have this brass stamping of cicada. This is just kind of like a little flourish down here. And I just added a copper wire and put another cicada on here. This one's a little bit different. This brass stamping has got the wings open versus the wings closed. And just, you know, one of my weird creations. Sometimes I make them kind of things and put them in my shop for sale on Etsy. So, okay, this awesome piece is from Germany. I don't know whether, I don't suppose so. I guess you would see glue or something, but it was probably like a squeaker kind of thing, but the squeaker does not work anymore because this is an antique, but it's got a spring inside of here, so you can do this, but I imagine it probably squeaked or something like that. But that face with the side eye, he's awesome. I think by the feel of it, it's probably, you know, like composition is what it feels like, maybe. Or it could be paper mache. I'm not sure. But one of the two. But I just thought he was cool. And I love his face. Now, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, we have some funeral home matches. This one is Eckhart, Indiana. And this one is North Campbell. I can't even pronounce that. But this one actually has a picture of it on the front. And then we have this mortuary here. This one's Aurora, Illinois. And I like these because, see all the bling bling? Since 1902. Okay, so yeah. I got those. Then we have this, which is catgut, which is a suture. It's in a glass vial with some kind of preservative solution. Don't know if it's alcohol or something like that. But I love vintage medical too, so of course I had to have this. But that's what that is. It's suture material. This is an old keyhole. And because of the fact it's the Green Man, you know, that's all it took. I had to have him. It's not something that's too terribly easy to display because he's, you know, so small. So I just usually lay him towards the front, you know, like that. Then we have just an old skeleton key. And this is an old dog tag. Right there. And it says dog tax on it. It's from 1918. And it's just a brass dog tag. Then we have some awesome doll eyes right here. These would have been like the rocker doll eyes, you know, that open and close. That would have been inside of a doll, basically. So when you move the doll back, of course, and forward, that's why they call a rocker doll eyes. Now on those wet specimens, if you have wet specimens or if you're planning on getting a wet specimen, keep an eye on them because it does evaporate. The solution evaporates, which is just basically 70% isopropyl alcohol. And you will have to freshen them up or, you know, add a little bit of more solution in there when it needs it. So keep an eye on them. This is just a painting that I purchased. It's in an antique frame, an antique brass frame. And I just love the lover's eyes, these Victorian lover's eyes. I just think they're awesome. They're just so pretty. So, of course, I got this to go in. Then we have this beautiful porcelain little baby doll. And I always go for the German dolls because they always seem to, I don't know, they just painted them better. They always had better facial expressions, better eyes, you know, all that good kind of stuff. So, and she's got this pretty like tea-stained dress. I don't necessarily think it's tea-stained. It's probably just from age. It was probably white at one point, but I just like the aged look of it. So, And we have a flower frog, a spiked flower frog, just a tiny one. These were from an old cash register, as you can see right here. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But 31 for Halloween, because, you know, Halloween is the bestest holiday ever. The bestest holiday ever. This is just a menagerie of sea creatures. We have a horseshoe crab and different seashells, another starfish. Yeah, different types of starfish. I don't know. There's just all kinds of things in here. This guy is very delicate. Look at those little legs. Now, that right there kind of creeps me out. Kind of creeps me out a little bit, but yeah, they're actually pretty harmless. But yeah, there's just different, like here's a different type of starfish too in here. This, I'm not exactly sure what this is. Why do I have this laying in here? Oh, it's a blood lancet. Disposable and ready for use. Sterile. That's why I got it in there. Okay. And let's see. Still running out of room. Okay, we have my little bird. His name is Peep. Had him for a while now, and he's, gosh, I have no clue what kind of bird this is. He's just a little booger in a cloche, but, you know, he's awesome nonetheless. Doesn't matter, you know. Size doesn't matter. Okay, where are you going, Peep? We'll put you over here on the corner. Okay. I need to get another one. This little itty-bitty cloche has got a teeny tiny little horse. What is it? Seahorse in it. And these are asthmatic cigarettes. And this is an old medical box. Never been used. It's from a French pharmacy. And I guess they would put the pills in here. Right on the front, directions, whatever. But isn't that kind of sexy looking packaging there for medication? I think it is. If my dang camera would focus. Stupid camera. Anyways. Then we have another skull and some more books. This is a bird, of course. What type of bird? I am really unsure. I found this guy at a flea market, I think. What's this? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then we have Sherlock Holmes. The Importance of Being Earnest. Okay. And we have an old prize ribbon from 1909. It's a Poultry Association ribbon. First prize. This chicken must have been the bomb diggity because it got first prize. Don't know anything about poultry shows or anything like that, but you know. This, let's see. What else? Okay, I'm not taking this out. I'll take this out at the end here. But we have, okay, it is framed. It's a moth. I don't know if it's a male or a female, but it is an atlas moth, I'm pretty sure, because I think those are like one of the largest moths out there. I had this bookmark, laminated bookmark of Edgar Allan Poe. What made me think of putting him there like he's got wings, I don't know, but that's what ended up happening, and that's where he's been living ever since. This is just an old pennant. This would have been something that they used in the early movie stars. I'm not exactly sure how they would have been displayed or where they would have been displayed. Maybe at a movie theater type thing or a theater. But Florence Dagmar was apparently a movie star. And this is just a pennant. You know, a felt pennant with her image on it. And we have a goat horn. A goat horn. And Honestly, anybody out there that knows anything about precious stones or anything like that can let me know what this is made of. I have no clue. It's got a mixture in here. Yeah, but I have this stone in here. This is not an antique. I don't even think it's vintage. I'm pretty sure it might be like Bethany Low or something like that. But it's mimicking the antique clankers, noisemakers, whatever. I just liked it because of the fact of the imagery. I love the skeleton on it. So this right here was an old specimen container, as you can tell. It still has the original label on it. Whatever was in here. Don't know. But it says 1911. I just put a frozen Charlotte and bestowed her with the crown and displayed her inside of it. I don't know. You know? Just wanted to put something in it. Wasn't quite sure what I should put in there, but then, I don't know, that came to me, and that's just ended up being what happened. These portraits are awesome. I think I sold all the ones that I had, all the extra ones in my Etsy shop, but I kept one for myself. This is the mother hiding photo from Victorian era. You can see this baby all the way up here, and then all of this. See that foot peeking out from the, from the side over there? That's Mama. Mama's in there. So, yeah. They were... I don't know why they didn't just get in the photo themselves. I have no idea. It's kind of stupid, but we have these photos, and they're just awesome. Some of the ways that these women tried to hide themselves, but it's quite obvious that they were there. And we have a couple of little celluloid babies. This one and this one with the lollipop. These were more than likely probably like carnival prizes. And then we have just a little silver container that I have a moth in and some porcupine quills. So then we have this level next to go over, guys. So that'll be another video, because I'm sure this one is way longer than it should have been to begin with because my mouth running. So I hope you enjoyed all of my weird stuff, and we'll do another video on the next level because I've been procrastinating and not cleaning out my cabinet. So we'll do level 2 next, hopefully. So until next time, guys, stay weird, stay wonderful. See you later.